Hello everybody, good evening, and welcome to the C Kappa Invitationals. We are here in the upper bracket with a best-of-3 series between Bangkok.Dynamo and TNC Pro Team. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. We are here on Moon.TV in the upper bracket round 2, where we start out with our best-of-3s. Our first best-of-3 round of course, this tournament. It is Bangkok.Dynamo versus TNC Pro Team. The winner of this matchup will go ahead and face up against Signature Trust and a pretty awesome best-of-3 in the upper bracket as well. So, with that said, we'll jump right into the game, right into the draft here on Moon.TV. My name is Mott, and joining me today is a very good friend of mine, somebody that knows the scene pretty damn well. He's been around forever, and I'm so glad that I get to cast with him again for once in a long time. We have Base Kip. Cameron, how have you been, man? How have you been feeling, dude?
Yeah, no, I'm doing well. It's good to be getting back into casting as well, though, so good to be here. How have you been, Travis?
I've been alright, man. I can't complain. I've got to cast a lot of Dota. I haven't really done much else besides that, and yeah, I mean, SEA. It's a region I don't get to get my hands on that much, and you're pretty familiar with it as well, so I'm excited to see what we get here.
Yeah, it should be good. It's nice to be out of the best-of-1 phase of this competition as well. So see some best-of-3s, see a little bit more action. I have to admit that I haven't been following the tournament all that closely, and I'm not amazingly familiar with either of these two teams. There's a couple of familiar faces on either side, but that's about the extent of it. But it's always exciting to see what's going on in SEA.
Let me give you the breakdown here of this tournament. I actually have a bracket ready to go for that particular reason. There's been a lot of upsets. Mineski is already out of the tournament. Mineski X is down in the losers bracket, which of course is Winter's team. RRQ is also down in the losers bracket along with First Departure, so a lot of different upsets.
5 seconds remaining.
So it's been interesting. Raven Fnatic are two of the, and Sig Trust are three of the teams that should be up in the upper bracket. Raven Fnatic actually play later. Zyro will be doing that game more than likely. It's like 5 hours from now or something ridiculous, but we have a long way to go here in this tournament still. It's just a bracket, and all of the lower bracket is actually best of ones up until like the last round of the lower bracket, which is like round 6. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really rough, I think, especially for who's down there at the moment. So First Departure's down there, but they've been eliminated by G7.
Team pick.
Yeah, this is a really interesting tournament so far. That Rave versus Fnatic match that you're talking about as well should be amazing. Really interesting later on. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to favor Fnatic, but it'll be really interesting to see what Rave brings to the table.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see that one. The new Rave, of course, coming in, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. I almost want to stay up late and just cast it just to be greedy and to do that best-of-3 series, to do that one best-of-3. That sounds absolutely amazing, but that's pretty late here on the East Coast of America, dude.
Oh yeah, wow. It's perfect time for me over here in Australia. It's 5 p.m. Great time to be casting some Dota.
There you go.
Unfortunately, it's pretty bad for getting to watch Dota Pit, but you know, can't have it all.
That's true. I mean, that's how it was for Shanghai for me.
Yeah.
You know, the Shanghai qualifiers essentially. So yeah, I mean, there's good and bad with it. And well, Cameron, let's talk about the draft. As of course we've been sidestepping it throughout the entirety of this cast, but we've got it going on with Bangkok.Dynamo grabbing the Oracle Tuscan Slaughter, and TNC will pick up the Enigma, Batrider, and Vengeful Spirit. So a lot of push, or a little bit of push, coming out from TNC, not to mention really good team fight potential with the Batrider picked up, the Enigma with the Black Hole, the threat of it, the Midnight Pulse coming up. Bangkok.Dynamo, they've got a lot of utility, a lot of stuns, disables, and saves coming out. The AoE disruption that is Snowball, and False Promise, which is very good against Batrider. One thing that you have to keep in mind. So I like both of these picks. I like both of these teams so far, but where do you think it's going from here?
Well, I think they've, just to talk about the draft already in front of us, I think they've grabbed some decent responses to the Batrider, but I'm still a little bit worried, especially with TNC having grabbed this first pick, Vengeful Spirit. I think we saw Venge not too long ago being very successful against Dazzle, just because you could swap whoever you were targeting away from the team and prevent the grave from happening. I think the same thing could kind of happen here with the lasso targets. Batrider's going to jump in, maybe lasso somebody. Oracle will start the Fortune's End, and it'll travel towards him, but by that point, the Venge may have already swapped whoever you're targeting and brought them all the way into your team. So in terms of what they've got going on, I feel like Bangkok.Dynamo are kind of scrambling a little bit to try and grab some team fight to be ready to deal with this Batrider Enigma Leshrac kind of a push that's coming their way. But in To round things out, I'm not sure what they go for here. I guess they're looking for their mid.
Yeah.
Invoker's being removed.
Maybe Quap?
I feel like they need someone who can
Radiant team banned.
frontline reasonably. I mean, the Gyrocopter can kind of do it if you tank up. Slardar is not really that kind of hero. You're always going to be lurking on the fringes, looking for that opportunistic initiation. Someone that could
Dire team pick.
put some pressure on the Enigma would be good as well. Some other stun to potentially cancel the Black Hole, because they're really wanting for that at the moment. Maybe something like Death Prophet could be alright. There is obviously some really nice synergy between the Soul Siphon heal and getting hit by Fortune's End. Or False Promise. Yeah, because then you get the bonus heal during the duration, it gets multiplied, and it
10
makes you very,
seconds
very
remaining.
difficult to kill. You can also potentially get hit by False Promise right at the end
5
of your
seconds
exorcism
remaining.
duration as well, and that
Yes.
can heal you right back up.
Yeah. And somebody was talking with me about that, actually,
Reserve
which is
time.
very interesting. I think Oracle in general, we've seen him played a fair bit, but he's kind of gone by the wayside the last couple of weeks, at least from what I've seen, the games that I've casted. I feel like he's good, but there's certain instances where he's amazing. There's other instances where he's just maybe not complete trash, but it's tough. The Oracle is very interesting to me, though. I love the idea of an Oracle, so I like him.
Yeah. I think it's a hero where the person that's playing it has to be really, really on the ball, like in that particular game, and the team has to be playing reasonably well around them. You know, I think people at this point, when they're playing with a Dazzle on their team, they're reasonably comfortable with the idea of, oh, okay, I'm going to get Graved, I'm going to keep fighting, I'm going to stick around. But it's not always necessarily the case with Oracle. Of course, this is, competitive, and they should be reasonably well coordinated, but people sometimes
Easier said than done.
still fail. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we are going to jump into the game as the draft rounds out with two interesting picks here. The Earth Spirit was the last pick for Bangkok.Dynamo, which I don't know if we really expected. This leaves a very interesting kind of lineup for Bangkok.Dynamo. You look at Earth Spirit, Tusk, and Oracle. There's three supports in that pool, but one of them could be played as an offlaner or perhaps something else. And it looks like maybe the Slaughter will be pushed into the safe lane now for Bangkok.Dynamo. Then, of course, the TA comes out on the mid side for TNC. So some really interesting picks here to round things out, Cameron.
Yeah, is it not going to be the Earth Spirit mid? I know that he's being a
it
support
could be.
for the most part.
I'm not sure.
But, obviously, you look at Secret,
10
we
seconds
plays
remaining.
Earth Spirit mid. I know that there are quite a few other people that do play Earth Spirit mid. And I think it could actually be decent here. Even just talking about the hero in general, regardless of what lane he's going to be in, I like it in terms of it gives them a long-range way to put pressure on the Enigma and potentially cancel a Black Hole, so that's always going to be nice, both the kick and the silence. And it also just adds even more team fight, because it seems like that's the kind of strategy that BKD want to go for here. They do want to be able to take those early fights and engagements against TNC once they start pushing down towers with the Blink Dagger and the Mech as the two big timings between the Batrider and the Enigma.
So the Earth Spirit has picked up two GG branches, and what I imagine will be two shared tangos here momentarily. So I think you're right on the money. But the snowball is going to
Big
come out, and
smoke
AU is actually going to get caught with so much lockdown and damage. It'll take them half a second to grab that kill with the rocket barrage coming through. He was not expecting that. He just wanted to stroll right through the river, and well, BKD did not let that happen as they get an easy first blood. It's all five heroes, and that's very quick.
Yeah, that was so fast. I mean, the Tusk didn't even have time to shop before they smoked
30
and
seconds
went for it.
to battle.
So it looks like they had that plan. Even before everyone locked in their hero, they just said, okay, look, we're going to buy a smoke at level 1, we're going to try and grab them. I don't know if that's because maybe they've studied TNC and they've seen that when they play the Enigma, he tries to move out and get an early ward down to kind of protect his own jungle, because that seemed like the kind of play that he was going for there. But instead he just gets caught out, and they don't get to place the ward either, so pretty big loss.
Yeah, Bangkok.Dynamo getting that early pickup, and TNC will not contest the bottom rune because of that, as all five are still down bottom rune spot, but of course that will leave the top rune spot open and available, and that'll be grabbed up by the Templar Assassin Teehee. So the mid, what I would imagine Earth Spirit coming out, as Dogbrain has picked up a very early bottle because he got the first blood, going up against the Templar Assassin. This is a matchup that you pretty much never see. I'd say almost never at this point, Cameron. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, I get the impression that it should be TA favored, and Earth Spirit is not the most amazing laner, but The other thing to say is that I don't know if it really matters, just because ES is not the most farm dependent here. And as I said, that he's actually putting a ton of pressure on TD right now.
It's slow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, if he had maybe an Orb of Venom, that kill becomes a little bit easier, but even so, he's actually having some trouble here still. He has to pop the refraction up. He's got 3 of the charges still left to go. Bottom lane, Split Earth is going to catch up with the Slaughter. He's got Slithering Christ ready to go. No sprint available. They had already used both of their disables, so he'll be able to back up and away and be fine. But Bangkok.Dynamo still providing pressure, getting that first blood, and Dogbrain looking to go at least even with Teehee, but still a little bit behind in CS for now, which is to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, even with all that damage that he dealt and what looked like a sort of kill threat, it's still not going his way CS-wise. But he's being really aggressive. I like the way that he's playing the start of this lane, putting a lot of pressure on, forcing the refractions to come up, and really forcing Teehee's mana pool early on here. Since he did go for the Wraith Band, so he's going to be a little bit slower on picking up his bottle here overall. And,
well, he's actually doing some work. There is the Orb of Venom now, and Teehee, he's got refraction ready to go. Dogbrain needs to be careful. He can bottle up. There is a Fairy Fire up and ready for the TA, so Dogbrain doesn't have that that item ready to go to keep him up and alive, and so he actually has to be very careful. 2-minute rune's going to come up. He's going to bottle with the last little ticks that he's got of HP. He's up to 171. A Radiant squad actually has the Bat Rider looking for the top rune as well. This could be dangerous for Dogbrain. The Firefly goes, and he's probably just dead. The Boulder Smash is going to grab a regen rune. He'll Rolling Boulder away, and that will be perfect. He pops it up immediately. Based Ice Frog strikes yet again, this time for the Earth Spirit.
Yeah, that was really well played by Dogbrain there. No fear whatsoever. And now he's back to full HP, and he has 3 bottle sips, so there you go. He's still only got 2 CS, and the Templar Assassin has 13, so
yeah,
the lane's still not going amazingly, but again, I don't think the point of the Earth Spirit this game was to win the lane by any means. I think it's very much about just being able to take those early fights and those early engagements around the Gyrocopter call down.
I think getting level 6 early on a Earth Spirit is also very important. I mean, levels on any hero is always important, but this one in particular might be a little bit more so when they put him mid. Of course, level 2 up for Noki, who's going to run down towards that mid lane. Maybe look for a rotation, try to go on the Templar Assassin, maybe not. And as we talked about how well the TA was doing, you look at the Radiant squad in general, and they are leading last hits by a mile. You have a jungle free farming Enigma. You look at the bottom lane, and of course you have your Leshrac up to 16 last hits. And 7 last hits even going for the Bat Rider top lane. So everything is really just clicking for TNC with the exception of that early first blood that was given up.
Yeah, and Bat Rider's even got a little stack going on over by the secret shop, so he's going to be able to fall back to that. It is a little bit unfortunate for him that he's playing with an Enigma on his team, because it is going to make it much more difficult for him to go and pick up jungle farms. So SamH could be left behind a little bit, but if TNC's early game plan goes the way that they're hoping for it to go, then there should be some tier 1 tower gold flowing into his pockets and finishing up that Blink Dagger at some point.
He's got boots currently, he's got a Clarity, and looking to get what I imagine would be the Tranquils, as he's got the Ring of Protection already, and he's very close to getting that Ring of Health. So Teehee will continue to farm. It's actually been a pretty quiet game, all things considered. Not many rotations. Dogbrain will pick up a double damage rune. It might be the rune he needs to bring down Teehee, but again, not looking to be that easy. 2-note, as well as Noki will get spotted by an Observer Ward, and they see this clearly. Teehee's going to back up, and he'll be able to make it to his side of the river, I mean, with plenty of time to spare. And they just decided to roam with that game without a smoke, which I found very interesting. And Teehee is not really providing them the initiation that they're looking for.
Yeah, I wonder how that Observer Ward was placed, because you can see that they've got this they've got an Observer Ward of their own there, but seemingly didn't realize that obs went down. So maybe they approached from fog just around the corner over here.
I feel like it must have been, yeah. It had to be from a position where they couldn't get vision, which is still pretty impressive when you think about it. That Radiant Ward getting put down without getting countered or even noticed is really important. Yeah, I mean, it pretty much just stopped that gank altogether. But they'll try to go again at this point. Noki and Dogbrain are looking for a Rolling Boulder, maybe a Snowball in, and Teehee, well, he knows. He has a pretty good understanding. He has a pretty good idea of what was happening. He's actually going to walk right up. They see him now. Sentry's going to get plopped down, and they've spent a lot of time doing nothing in this mid lane. Like, they're not getting any experience or farm. They're actually just going to go with the Snowball, however, and he's going to get caught. Slithering Crush will go, and there's no refraction for another 5 seconds. He's got side traps. They just don't really have the damage. There's the Geomatic in the grip. They missed the Rolling Boulder, and he's way far away at this point. The refraction will go, is going to get popped up in a second, but he's still doing a lot of damage and surviving. He's trying to go to work. He's got no reflection for 10 seconds. Can they bring him down? Snowball's back up, and here comes Sam H. Boulder Smash misses. There's the Fairy Fire going to work as well. Teehee is just kiting and doing his freaking job, destroying Noki. In fact, he's probably dead. They drop one more side trip. They slow him up. Last right click. Can he get denied? The answer to that question is absolutely not. And Teehee creates more than enough space to get that huge kill. Dogbrain might have to deny himself to Roche. While this is all happening, Tier 2 tower bottom is getting destroyed, taken down so easily by the rest of TNC squad. They missed the Midnight Pulse, but here comes Winter G Small Sun. He's going to find Dogbrain, and that's going to be the kill for Sam H, putting him up to 1,200. What a drastic turn of events for TNC. That was absurd, Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, they wasted so much time there as well, trying to kill Teehee, both in the the initial Tusk rotation. Then they brought the Earth Spirit and the Slardar in. Then they waited a little bit more. Then they dove for about a minute, and meanwhile they lost 2 towers bottom lane. The Enigma just rotated over with his Bassi, and they got even just the 1 point up in Diabolic Edict here from Leshrac. But this is a ridiculous amount of gold, and
this push. How are they supposed to deal with this? Fading's gonna get caught out. The Magic Missile, he's gonna pop the Fortune's Head, but he'll die almost certainly with at least that tick. They're going to Rolling Boulder in, and actually AU is in some trouble. The Rocket Barrage, the Snowball, they'll finally find a return kill going their way, and He's going to have to sidetrap it. He's actually just going to be able to walk away because of it, but still they have to force all of those rotations. They will end up getting the deny on the tower. So TNC aren't quite running away with the game as much as maybe they would like, but they're still getting a lot of favorable trades here, Cameron.
Yeah, and this is terrifying. I mean, I was talking about it as if, the Batrider getting gold from the tier 1s, as if like, oh, okay, maybe this will happen at 10 minutes or 12 minutes or something like that. And here we are, 7.5 minutes into the game, and the Batrider has 1,700 gold. This is absolutely terrifying if you're BKD. And they may not even realize that this is going on. I mean, they know that he got the kill on the Earth Spirit, but this is actually a pretty crazy amount of farm for Sam H. And they're going to give him the mid lane for a little bit, just so that he can finish this one up. So. Yeah. This is a scary timing. I
mean, the Blink Dagger coming this early for the Batrider is just one of many problems, excuse me, that Bangkok.Dynamo has to deal with. He has picked up Treads, and he'll work on probably his Desolator. We'll see maybe if he decides to go for another build like early Blink, Yasha, or Drum. There's a lot of options. Top rune spot, Dogbrain, there's the side trap, and the Magnetize will go, but Dogbrain seems to be the one in trouble. Winter G Small Sun sticks up, and Purifying Flames will actually bring him down. Teehee's on the chase as he's got the refraction up. Side traps are at the ready. He's going to try to get to the high ground, but will not be able to do so. Teehee's just going to go to work. The Melt Strike hitting in 3 hits, fading down to the dirt, into the water, dead as he goes. They do lose the, the Enigma elsewhere, I believe. He actually died up here in the top jungle area, but still, it is another 2-for-2 trade with Teehee being the one involved.
Yeah, the Earth Spirit had one more remnant, but I think he went to try and place it, and then the turn speed reduction from Sticky Napalm actually prevented him from turning around and throwing that last one down. It might have been enough to get the kill on the Templar Assassin, because I think if he refreshes the Magnetize one more time, then the Tusk probably snowballs in and finishes the kill, but instead he's just going to end up going down. At least they got the Enigma, as you're saying, and have managed to slow down the pace a little bit, especially since it is going to slow down the Enigma's mech by just a touch. But yeah. Sam H does have his Blink Dagger now, so they're probably going to go look for a rotation and find a pretty easy pickoff.
9 minutes, and he wasn't doing particularly amazing. And you discussed it. You're like, well, you said you thought it was going to be 10 minutes, maybe 11, 12. That would have been just a fine timing. But the fact that he's got it this early is absurd.
Yeah, well, that would have been a good time for him to start getting some tier 1 gold. But instead, he's just got the entire Blink Dagger here at 9 minutes. And I thought because they had an Enigma, there was no way that he was going to go and get any jungle farm to help him out. But, never mind. 3 kills and 18 CS, along with those 3 towers going down. Seems like it's more than enough.
Sam H looking for fading. Instead, he's just going to blink forward and find Gus, who is dove behind the tower by a wide margin. Black Hole, just to secure the kill. The Snowball will come in. And actually, it's Noki now taking a lot of damage. The Edict, they get off a great Magnetize, but still, Raven not dead yet. Good fortune Zen. He's going to get Purifying Flames up. Now healed to go and work. 4 dead on the side of BKD. And it looks like it's going to be a 5th. His Dogbrain, he'll at least avoid the Split Earth. He's going to work with the Magnetize, but Raven stays alive just for a little bit longer. Dogbrain is going to get a double. It's actually a 3 for 5 when it's all said and done. Another absurd fight, but it is Teehee again, the cleanup crew. A full team wipe going the way of TNC, and it just gets worse and worse, Cameron.
Yeah, that was so aggressive by the gyrocopter. And it was only because, so either that's too aggressive because his Oracle doesn't have ultimate, which he doesn't at the moment. He's just a little bit shy. And the other issue was that the pincer that was coming in didn't quite collapse quickly enough. You look at these wards up here, and this is where BKD really wanted to make a stand. They wanted to dive the tower, have the Earth Spirit come in from behind, work his magic. They had vision everywhere, and then they wanted to take the tier 1. But unfortunately, things got just a little bit disjointed. I think, as we were talking about, they weren't expecting that Batrider Blink Dagger to be up quite so quickly, and that ends up being a little bit disastrous. I think they could have potentially won that fight if Gus had just been in a slightly better position, and now he's in big trouble again, it seems.
I mean, Gus is just... He was the one that was farming pretty decently, and he continues to just get zoned out. He's got 4.8k. It's actually... I feel like this could be just... I don't say this a lot. It's 7.5k net worth advantage. Actually, hold that thought. Top rune spot. He's going to get caught. He's got the refraction up. They get the veil off. The magnetize will go. They desperately need this kill. The purifying flames will do most of the work with the magnetize on top. So Dogbrain actually providing himself the kill with that veil of discord. So again, it at least gets them something here, Cameron.
This top side of the map is ridiculous. You switch it over to the dire vision,
this,
and you can see all of it. There are no fog gaps or anything whatsoever. There are overlapping wards.
This is dire vision, yeah. I'm showing it.
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, at least gets them the kill. Won't complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, they already see the Batrider coming in here.
Well, we could try to go on him. He doesn't have any radiant vision, by the way. BKD might think that they do, but that's not actually the case. They have a lot of good catch potential. Against a bat, though, it's tough because he can usually just blink out if he sees any sort of initiation coming in. It's not the hero they would like to go for. They'd like to go for is another TA. Potentially even, you know, an Enigma, what have you. So we will see a rotation Teehees nearby. The Observer Ward giving them more room to work with. The Firefly's going to work. He's looking for the last, so he's going to find it, but this might actually be a bait. But look at the damage. They just kill him almost instantly. Not dead yet, but the good Slithering Crush will actually keep him alive. And he makes it out. No problems whatsoever. Well, I mean, a little bit of a problem. That's a lot of damage. He needs to be careful with how he uses that. Still, though, they're going to come in from the backside. They're looking for an engagement, and it looks like they found AU in the tree line here. I don't think he'll make it away. Good boulder smash call down will go and get them some good damage. And good swap out to keep him alive. Not dead yet. They get off a double split earth here, and here comes T. They get off the pulse nova. The damage from Raven is absurd. With the damage coming in from the snowball Wars punch. Gus, can he stay alive? The answer to the question is yes. Picks up a double kill. Dust will go. Teehee looking for Gus with the side trap, and Sam H will continue to chase as well. And he's split up completely from the fight. He's already used his stick charges. Flame break will push him to the side. They have no way of getting to help him out. And Gus, side trap 1, side trap 2. He's desperately trying to get out, and he will finally get right-clicked out, but they might lose Sam H for it. Another kill, a fourth, going for Bangkok.Dynamo as a bloodbath continues on in this game, Cameron. What the hell?
TNC really needed to wait for the mech on the Enigma. He had it completed. It's on the courier right now. He was just pushing a little bit too far up in the lane and didn't quite manage to get it delivered. Because I think if he actually has the mech there, then he survives after the swap and might be able to come back in and make something happen. But instead, we're on even footing now, 12 to 12. Bangkok.Dynamo dragging things back a little bit. They're still, you know, still a little bit behind in terms of overall farm, and we still haven't seen what TNC's lineup is fully capable of just yet, I think. I mean, the way that fight started is they have no lasso, they wasted a whole bunch of stuff on the Slardar, didn't kill him, didn't have the mech just yet, didn't get a black hole off. But looks like this time around TNC going to try and
they're going to fight on their
terms.
right way.
Yeah. Or just head into Roshan.
I mean, either work just fine. They have a newly minted Desolator, by the way, for Teehee. Again, early... look how fast this is going to fall here. Literally, it's going to take probably about 20 seconds. By the time BKD get there, Roche will already be dead. As that is completely the case. Dogbrain can try to jump in here at this point, but they're going to grab the Roche. The Aegis will go. And Dogbrain is trying to decide whether or not he wants to jump in. Instead, he's going to get jumped on. So the crush, Sam H actually in some trouble. He'll be the first to fall. The Walrus Punch, the mech comes out, but it doesn't do enough. Teehee will lose his first life, and it looks like this is maybe not going that well. It looks like there's going to be even more damage coming out. And that's a triple kill for Fading. I don't know what else to say about that. Also messed up my replays, but that's fine. No big deal. No worries.
That kick from Dogbrain was so sick that right as he kicked, the Bat Rider blinked on him and got stunned before he could actually get the lasso off, and then there was the immediate follow-up from the Slardar, which is the only reason that the Earth Spirit lives there. If he gets lassoed, I think he's 100% dead, and they 100% lose the fight.
Right.
Manages to get the kick off, drops the magnetize, and they clean up really handedly. So
Yeah. This is all of a sudden looking pretty good for them, dude.
yeah, I think it really is. The Gyrocopter's looking a little bit tankier. He's got his S&Y up now. The Oracle has a ton of farm. Another 1,300 gold on top of his Arcane Boot, so if he wants to pick up his Aether Lens relatively quickly here, or maybe even just go straight into a mech, honestly. I think it's still early enough that he can go for the mech, and it just synergizes so nicely with the False Promise being able to get that double heal off. And then even head into the Greaves a little bit later on if you manage to hit someone with the False Promise when they're on really low HP.
Yes.
That extra regen just keeps running, and they're pretty much back to full HP no matter what happens.
Well, we'll see how this plays out as BKD suddenly getting a very solid spot in terms of net worth and at least farm. They're playing together. I don't play them against a Bat Rider, against all the smoke, or rather the gank potential. Speaking of gank and smoking, BKD will do it right on top of mid. I don't think they were spotted by the Observer Ward, but with the Observer Wards that they've placed, well, actually, they're just backing immediately, and TNC seem to have known something is going to be going on. A little bit not what they're looking for. Gus will look and find Winter's G Small Sun. The Ice Shards will actually catch him in beautifully. That was top tier Ice Shards coming out from Noki. Really good stuff.
Yeah, that was so nice. And BKD just going to completely converge on the mid lane here. The Shrek doing his best to split things out on the top side a little bit. But it seems like TNC are actually really afraid of taking a full engagement against Bangkok.Dynamo at the moment.
I mean, there's a lot of team fight. I kind of would be too.
Yeah,
the Veil especially is providing them that extra bit of damage that maybe they weren't expecting. And he actually goes for a -2. He's like, this game's going late. We know it.
Yeah, they're in really good control right now.
Alright, CMH has finished up his Force Staff. That's maybe an item that turns things back in the favor of TNC. And they're looking. Dogbrain was nearby. I think he's just got a rolling boulder across the tree line. The tier 3 tower is starting to get pressured down bottom, and 2-0 will go ahead and rotate down bottom and complete his next item, whatever it is. He's got his Blink Dagger. He's had that for a period of time. Top lane, Raven continues to farm. His Bloodstone's done, and now he's got a Void Stone. I mean, so, alright, there was a good couple of minutes for Bangkok.Dynamo, but do you still favor TNC, or do you actually think that Bangkok.Dynamo are in a good spot right now, Cameron, like later on as we move through this game?
I think a lot of it is going to come down to Roshan control. Both teams have a lot of really good Roshan heroes on both sides, both from the perspective of taking Roshan quickly, talking about Slardar and the Templar Assassin and the Vengeful Spirit, but also talking about being able to team fight around the pit. You know, that's Slardar as well, the Earth Spirit, the Bat Rider, the Enigma. So there's initial pickoffs, and that map control is really going to pave the way for one team to exploit Roche a whole lot this game, and I think that's gonna count for a lot. But I think it is going to be really scary for TNC because this Gyrocopter is going to be so difficult to kill. He's going to be saved by the Oracle, he's going to be saved by the Tusk, and we may even get to the point where the Earth Spirit picks up an Aghanim Scepter,
yes,
and he's going to be able to contribute another save as well. And that just means that they're never going to be able to burst him.
Noki's gonna get swapped. He actually dodges the Meld Strike. That double damage would have done a lot of damage, and he's gonna get Malfist, but now they have to back up. TNC clearly feeling that this is not their fight. The mech will go. Winter G Small Sun might be the sacrifice as the Slithering Crush comes through. That'll do more than enough damage. Raven was top lane the entire time. That's why they called that back decision, and TNC will lose one support. Split Earth, and actually Slithering Crush, Raven is in trouble. Amp damage is up, and he actually has to deny himself with the Bloodstone newly minted. And that was at 9, but now it's at 6, and 2-note, he's all chatted before, and he'll continue. He's like, man, that's just a lot of money that's just gone. That's gone. Sorry.
I mean, the Les just kind of goofed a little bit there. As soon as he saw the TP start, he could have just started his own TP. And I think he escapes 100% there, but just kind of panicked a little bit, and it is going to end up costing him some Bloodstone charges. He's back pretty quickly. We'll be able to go back to farming. It's not the biggest loss, but that does still hurt.
Yeah, the Lesh was looking really good GPM-wise. He was getting up there, and that's going to put a little bit of a dent into his game plans. But I have to say, though, really solid vision for the rating team, though. Like, look at this vision coming out. Well, I thought it was more, but they have a ward behind, around the pit. They obviously have side traps. They've warded the enemy jungle as well, and that's where they're headed. They're looking for somebody up here. They may very well find Dogbrain, which is a sick pickoff if they can get it, but instead they'll have to rotate down bottom as their observer ward's going to catch the fact that BKD are roaming in force. But instead, it's going to be the last one to Dogbrain, doing absolutely really nothing. The Firefly, the call down will go, and Sam H is probably going to be fine. He's got Blink ready. He's going to force first. He can Blink if need be, but I don't really even think he needs to. He'll finally blink down to the river, and just so. A couple of weird fights, but now in the jungle, this is maybe where it's going to be at. As the jump in, Slithering Crush, they'll find Winter G Small Sun. There's the jump in, Black Hole, but it's only on to fading. They get the Wars Punch off, and AU is realizing that this is not what he wanted. The Glimmer Cape will go. There's the Purifying Flame. Slithering Crush will jump in. Teehee going to work. They'll get the Oracle at the very least, but can he get more? Raven is going to help him with the charge. The Splinter was already used. The Pulse over the Edict, and they're going to town. Dogbrain finally comes in with the Magnetize and the Veil, but it's just not doing enough damage. But here comes Gus Gus. He'll provide that extra bit with the JR Copter using his Rocket Barrage. The homing missile up as well. He just needs a little bit more. 2-0 will provide that pickup for Gus Gus. And now Teehee's the sole survivor. Melt Strike will go. Rolling Boulder in. Gus Gus will be able to back up the Desolator just too much. That Boulder Smash will get Teehee away and actually might survive with an Ultra Kill. And Dogbrain, he's going to turn this. He's looking for the Rampage. He's going to get it. Teehee gets all 5. Unbelievable. They didn't respect the Refraction. They didn't respect the Desolator or Meld Strike. It's too much, Cameron, and that is a beautiful turnaround from the TAA.
Yeah, that was really, really good from Teehee. I was about to compliment Dogbrain for how well he played that fight and came in and sort of turned things around, but then the Templar Assassin just proved to be a little bit too much. Before all of that started, I was about to say that, the Templar Assassin picked up the Ogre Club, but then decided to go back for the Blink Dagger. It's a little bit of a gamble, but it kind of played into the fact that they weren't looking to teamfight as much and were probably hoping to find some pickoffs with the bat and just look to take map control. But it doesn't matter because he got a Rampage and now he has the Black King bar anyway, and another 1,400 gold.
Yep.
So.
That's frightening. I thought for sure he was going to go down to the combined efforts of Gus Gus as well as Dogbrain, but that did not end smoothly for them. That is just a frightening. The team fight was a long one at that too. I thought BKD were in a good spot, but boy, that puts him in such an amazing spot currently in the net worth chart. He's sitting at 14,000 to the 11,000 of Gus Gus. That's just something else, man.
Yeah, he's going to be really difficult to control for the next little bit as well with this 10-second BKB to work with. I think, if not for the BKB, if that fight had been a little bit more even, then you'd probably start to see the Templar Assassin having some troubles with the Fate's Edict disarm coming out, but now there's basically nothing to control him. Unless they get a really good chain stun going before the BKB pops.
I mean, that's going to be tough on its own right. You have to wonder, maybe later on down the road, I don't even know if they can go a Hex maybe, but who's going to pick it up? Dogbrain? They don't really have Abyssal Carriers either, so like locking him down is not going to be easy. Maybe they don't want to focus on locking him down. Maybe just output enough damage to actually bring him down with amp damage. And Gus Gus is right click, as he also picked up the BKB, by the way, but he's still a full item behind at this point.
Yeah, he could still potentially be bursted. He's going to have to make sure that he plays around the disables of both the Batrider and the Enigma. Still lots of... You see so much attention being paid towards the Roshan pit at the moment. We got traps in there, we got wards from both sides. I think both teams are extremely cognizant of the fact that they've both got amazing Roshan lineups, and that if you just make the smallest mistake, like one person is in top lane and they don't have a TP scroll and Roshan happens to be up, then it can just be wiped out from underneath you in a matter of seconds. So lots of play on this bottom side of the map right now.
Yeah, and well, that's where the team fight occurred. Also occurring to me is the fact that there is still a tier 1 tower somehow for TNC.
Yeah.
I was like, what? How is that still there? They dove that. And it didn't really matter at that point, but still. Dear Lord, it took them a while to finally get it done, but there's a split push coming in as mid tier 2 is probably going to go down. They actually glyph up, but that's also going to be the bottom or top tier 2 is going to get caught as well. And so 2 tier 2 towers, one of them will fall, might even be both. Teehee's gonna get caught, pops the BKB. Force Punch will go Black Hole, just kicks Noki and actually will bring him down, probably. The mech, maybe he won't get brought down. It's gonna be close, but I think Teehee's done more than enough damage to kill him. And here comes 2-0, jumping with the Slithering Crush, doing some work. Magnetize is now up as well. AU with the solo Black Hole, now down. He'll be able to get the mech off in time, but will still fall. And Teehee's in some trouble here. They are actually doing so much damage with the Magnetize, and the Purifying Flames will grab them. The kill, he's down for 74, and Raven is the next target. 2-0 will come in with the Slithering Crush, just gets up a couple of bashes. There's the silence, and Raven will go down. He cannot get that Bloodstone Deny off either. And suddenly, despite TNC having an amazing couple of minutes, they are still actually getting really caught out, Cameron, in bad spots.
I mean, they committed a Black Hole and a BKB just to kill Tusk. Tusk is like the happiest guy in the world after that. He's just kicking back, he's dead, but whatever. They committed 2 huge cooldowns to him, and they're gonna figure out that Roshan's also respawned, so gonna go straight in and grab that, and I don't know, that just seemed a little bit overconfident from TNC. There. They just didn't have the backup. That was the one thing that was
right. Yeah. Not everybody from TNC was there. Ooh. Up on the cliff is 2-0, and that's not great. He's going to get Force Staff to the low ground, however. That will come out from Dogbrain, or actually from himself, I believe. He's got his own Force Staff. Sprints up. And we'll start to see if they want to go for this. They actually have everybody up, and there's still no Teehee for another 13 seconds. This is their best opportunity to get this. There's no Black Hole swaps available, so is Lasso. So a lot of potential danger coming out for BKD to try to take this Roche. Eidolons will head into the pit, backing up the mech, and the Arcanes will go. I think it's a little early. I don't know if they really needed to do that. But they know that with Teehee respawning, they are not able to secure this Roshan, Cameron.
That was such a sick wave of terror from the Vengeful Spirit. He managed to hit all 3 heroes with the minus armor, but not hit Roche. So he didn't help them at all with the Roshan attempt.
That's pretty impressive. I don't even know how you do that.
Yeah, it may have just been a coincidence, but anyway, what do we got? Enigma's working on a BKB right now. Bangkok.Dynamo, really, they backed all the way off the Roshan pit there. I guess they just want everybody to be up, ready to go, but this is going to be extremely important. There's also a gem on the Slardar, so if they happen to lose this fight and pass that gem over, the Batrider is really going to take complete control here.
Here we go. Roche is up in Bangkok.Dynamo. They walk close enough, but still not quite there. And they are going to lose Roche because of it. They might get a kill. In fact, the Enigma will get silenced up. He didn't have Black Hole anyways. I think you just back with your TNC now. And that should probably be the case. That's a huge pickup for them. And they won't get anything out of it.
Yeah, that was ballsy from TNC, but really well played, realizing just how quickly that they could take Roshan and
I mean, it was extraordinarily
pick up the
fast.
edges. Yeah, it really was. And I mean, they lose the Enigma, but Enigma didn't have Black Hole up anyway, and it looks like he managed to buy his BKB recipe before he died, regardless, so it didn't really lose a whole lot. I like the itemization coming out from BKD. They've got the Talisman of Evasion on the Gyrocopter, and they've also got one over on the Slardar, so I guess we might be seeing like Solar Crest maybe for the Slardar, or maybe even a Heaven's Halberd, and the Gyrocopter probably just going into Butterfly here. But yeah. The one thing to point out, and that I don't see a whole lot of people doing this, is you could actually, he's got SNY and Talisman of Evasion. He could choose to disassemble his SNY and get a Heaven's Halberd and a Yasha instead, temporarily. And that actually gives you a little bit more health, a little bit more damage, but you lose the Crater Maim. But I think it's worth it just to get the active, especially against a hero like the Templar Assassin, where the active can actually just force the BKB charge, potentially, but people don't really do it a whole lot.
Yeah, I would be surprised. I would not mind that decision, but I'd be very surprised to see him make it. But he has options. Gus has options for sure. And I think, first and foremost, he wants to finish off the Butterfly, like you were mentioning, and I don't see that really being an issue. He's very... Well, not very close, but he's pretty close, yeah.
Yeah. So now they're probably just going to try and wait out the Aegis as best they can. They're going to be talking amongst themselves and pointing out that it wasn't the Templar Assassin who grabbed the Aegis, so Teehee's going to have to be at least a little bit careful with his positioning in this next fight. He does still have a 9-second BKB and a Manta Style to back him up, so pretty survivable as a result, but just needs to make sure that he doesn't get caught in some silly way. What do we got? We got Earth Spirit with a Mystic Staff now.
Is it the Hex or is it the Shiva's Guard? Because I talked about Hex a little bit earlier.
I quite like the Hex. The Shiva is of course also quite good, but I feel like I favor the Hex just a little bit more. We'll see what he ends up opting for though. He might feel that he wants the Shiva just for a little bit more survivability if the Templar Assassin does happen to lay into him with some auto attacks.
He's getting close, and that Hex could be a game changer if he picks it up.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, that's the understatement of the year. I mean, Hex being a game changer, who would have thought?
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how it's going to transition. I'm a huge fan of Dogbrain mid, by the way, on this series. He has surprised the heck out of me. And I also love the fact that he went Veil first. And I love the fact that people are actually picking up Veil now. Because I think that item is extraordinarily good. The amount of damage you pump out before BKBs are up and before you have really any magic resistance is absurd and tough to deal with if you are on this Radiant team. So I'm a big fan of the Veil pickup. I'm a big fan of how Earth Spirit has played this game, especially against a TA who is very far in the lead at this point.
Yeah, I think the Veil was the perfect choice as well because he has the Gyrocopter on his team, who around that timing that they were really looking to take fights with the Earth Spirit is also really coming into that first big power spike of his with having the call down and the maxed out rocket barrage. So I think that was a really big contributing factor to being able to sort of stall out the game a little bit before all of that TNC aggression could come online. Because you have to remember, we were talking about 10 minutes into this game, the Batrider having the Blink Dagger and how TNC were just going to completely take over, but BKD managed to take some really nice fights and sort of put us into this more even position that we're in now. The TNC have been kind of grinding out an advantage, especially with that Aegis duration, though. Yeah. That is just about to fade, so big 5-man smoke looking to try and get some kind of value out of that.
And it seems that BKD knew this was coming, at the very least. I don't think they saw the smoke, but nobody's farming bottom. They have a ward mid. Nobody's there either, and so TNC, they're looking for something, but I think BKD probably called their bluff at this point. It is the Shivas, by the way. That is the pickup for the Earth Spirit, which with the Veil, I mean, is fine, too. I mean, there's just a lot of extra magical damage coming out. The attack speed slow, which is huge. I'm okay with this. I think it's probably going to do a lot of work, but they're going to walk up the high ground. This is dangerous. The Sigil was going to give them some vision, but they were close to it, and they won't find anybody. But TNC, had they stayed, maybe they turned that around. Again, though, they did not have Teehee, who is, by the way, building into what I imagine to be an MKB at some point.
Yeah, that's only safe because they see the Templar Assassin heading down mid and know that even if there's 4 heroes waiting for them up on the high ground, then they'll probably be alright. It'll still take the TA like 15 seconds to get over there or something like that. But yeah, MKB seems like the logical choice. We've already been talking about the butterfly coming out on the gyrocopter, so countering that up as quickly as possible definitely seems like a good option. Oracle has grabbed himself a vitality booster here. I wonder if BKD are just hoping to grind this game out and get to the point where they're able to kite the Templar Assassin a lot more successfully, you know, kind of grind down those BKB charges and then have, say, the Atos and Ashivas and some Force Stabs just to be able to kite the TA around in circles and deal with her that way. It could work out. But they're going to have some kind of a plan. This Templar Assassin is still really big.
Yeah, and
doesn't have a TP though.
Well, he's going to have to be careful in that regard. Also pushing is going to be Raven, who does have a TP. He's also got a Blink Dagger. He still has 4 Bloodstone charges. One way or another, this Tier 1 tower, or Tier 2 tower bottom is going to fall, but there is a push heading in towards mid. That'll be from Raven with Flush Rack. He's got the level 4. It might be a fight about to break out here. The TP's going to come in. Blink in, lasso on to Gus Gus. Good false promise, and that's going to be at probably the end of the fight. When Raven decides that it's not, he's going to continue to chase forward, but he really can't find anything. False Promise is now done. Call down will slow Raven up, and that should be the end of the fight. Gus Gus is actually going to get used up, and now they might have to fight. Looks like they're actually just going to leave him. The BKB will go. They want him at the very least, and the Edict will fly. Ice Shards will not block in everybody, but Raven will pop the BKB. They're going to turn on this. It's a 4 versus 5 engagement, and Raven's still going to work. Gus Gus getting destroyed by the Desolator. They can't get that last right click with the MKB. It stunned him, but didn't kill him. And it's actually going to be Noki dying in his stead, as Teehee will get blocked into the Roche pit. Still chasing. Gus Gus is so damn low. Forced up, Rolling Boulder away, and he will get pushed to the side. Dogbrain is being cheeky as all hell. There's going to be Yules up under the Slaughter, the Splitter coming out, and it looks like 2-0 might be the one to fall, but there's the Fate's Edict looking for a BKB Black Hole, and he can't find it. AU pops the BKB prematurely, jumps in, and will not be able to find that one disable. The disable to rule them all, and it will just be, I think, one die. I think that was it, man.
Yeah. That was such a sick ice shards from the Tusk. Just, I mean, sure the Flash got through, but everyone else got blocked.
Oh my lord, that is huge. Oracle gets killed instantly. Now they have to fight. Jump in lasso. Gus is in trouble, and 2-Note has to get out. Gus, he'll fall into a buyback, and just like that, the game might actually be over. They skip that. That's just a huge swap and a huge play coming out, and TNC are going to probably take a racks off of this.
Oh, that was some messy high ground defense.
What the hell was that?
BKD. I mean, it's not even like they got black holed either. The Enigma was hanging way back, thinking, "Oh, okay, my BKB is on cooldown. I don't want any part of this. We're just gonna slow siege the high ground." And then, all of a sudden, Winter G sees the opportunity, and they're just gonna clean up here.
I mean, that's a racks. That's probably 2 racks. This might even just be game. And swap back. They're gonna find Noki. Winter G Smallson had just gotten his swap off cooldown. The 40 seconds that it is. And that is an easy racks. Easy tier 3 and perhaps another set. I don't think they can get megas because they're back up in 16. They will not have at least the Tuscan. So knowing this, TNC will back together. That went from 0 to 120 miles per hour very quickly. In fact, it's going to continue to go that direction as Raven's going to split Earth on 2-0. False Promise is going to get used, but look at the damage coming out. The Desolator going to town. The MKB. There's going to be the Blink lassoing. 4-staff back. Fading's going to get caught. They'll lose 2-0. The gems on the deck. And Raven decided, no, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going. 2-0 will immediately, I think, just DC, and that's probably going to be the end of the game. But you hate to see it end on that term, or on those terms, but TNC executed a pretty damn good ending fight here, with all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, even if they hadn't called the GG, it would have either been the freest Roshan in the world for TNC, or they would have just gotten black holed and it would have ended right away. So, I am very surprised at how quickly that game ended out of nowhere. It seemed like they didn't even get the successful pick-off from the gyrocopter. We were thinking, oh, they're counting their lucky stars. They're going to be able to take a high ground defense, and then all of a sudden, base is just gone, and that's the game. But good start from TNC. Things got a little bit rocky towards the mid-game, but they kind of shifted gears, farmed in the Templar Assassin, looked for map control, looked for the pick-offs, and once the Templar Assassin hit critical mass, it was pretty straightforward for them to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, that game was looking way more even than that in the ending, kind of showed. You look at it, it was 5,000 net worth advantage up until that last fight. So sometimes things just get out of control, I guess, in Bangkok.Dynamo being a team that I think is a little bit newer to the scene, at least from, what I've seen of SEA Dota, and TNC having some old faces in a crew that's been playing a lot of really good Dota recently. I think they're on maybe a 7 to 8 game win streak at this point. You don't expect it to end that way, but with TNC, they just farm up on the back of Teehee. He gets a rampage, and that ends things. So that'll be the end of our first game of this best-of-3 series. Luckily, we have more good Dota coming your way, guys, and that was a pretty damn good first game to start things off. And with that, game number 2 is right around the corner, Cameron. Any closing thoughts before we head into this next game?
I want to say one more time, compliment Dogbrain on his Red Spirit performance. I think he played really well, put the team on his back, kind of got them back to even after the early game was such a disaster, and maybe TNC are going to have to consider banning it out in the second game, so I might see a little bit of a respect ban there.
We'll wait and see. I would not be surprised. Earth Spirit, one of the top picks in a lot of different positions. We see it mid dominate pretty successfully for Dogbrain, at least in terms of team fights when it came down to it. But with that said, game number 2 right around the corner, guys, here for C Kappa Invitational here on Moonduck TV. Give us a follow. My name is Malt. With me is Base Kip. We'll jump into game number 2, and we'll see you guys shortly. Stick around.